Some big-time Philadelphia Eagles news to get into here on this Sunday. You're watching Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr. Hope you're all having a great weekend. And, of course, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, as always, I appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. Coming up here, a lot to get into. It looks like a key starting position has been settled going into week one against the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday night. Philadelphia today also making a surprising roster move, and we have some big injury news heading into this season opener against Dallas on Thursday night as well. Before we do all of that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for daily and year-round coverage of the Birds. And this episode of Eagles Now is sponsored by our friends at Prize Picks. Regular season football is almost here. College football underway. Week one, it has been a blast to watch, so don't miss any of the action this season on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Run your game with Prize Picks. Get your picks in less than 60 seconds. This is the best daily fantasy sports app. Millions of people use it. Test out your sports knowledge and show me that you know ball. It's very easy to play as well. You pick 2 to 6 players, you choose more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 2,000 times your money. So download the Prize Picks app, head on over to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Who are you high on this year? Who are you not so high on? Use it to your advantage. Download the Prize Picks app today. So let's begin here. A big question that we have had all offseason, all summer, still going into today, the final day of August as I record this show on August 31st. Can you believe that the month of September is about to get underway? It's nuts. I mean, it feels as though it wasn't too long ago that the Eagles annihilated the Kansas City Chiefs back in February in New Orleans to win Super Bowl 59. But that big question that I referenced, who will start at cornerback 2 on the outside opposite of Quinyon Mitchell? Nick Sirianni, on what seems like an unsettled status at the outside corner spot opposite of Quinyon Mitchell, said this today. It's unsettled to the outside world. We've got it pretty much settled in here. Just like injury information, I'm just not sharing that information quite yet. Gamemanship is what you call that. He doesn't want to give the Cowboys a clue who will start opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. But what happened at practice today? And keep in mind that media members are allowed to observe a very minimal amount of time of practice sessions now because it's officially a game week for Philadelphia. It's pretty much the regular season underway. And so it's unlike training camp where media members could be there for the entire duration of these practice sessions. Now, it's a limited amount of time. But when the media was on hand, who was lining up with the first-string defense at outside cornerback 2 for Philadelphia? It was Adoree Jackson. It wasn't Keely Ringo. It wasn't Jacorian Bennett. It was Adoree Jackson. Now, I will tell you this right now. It doesn't mean that Adoree Jackson is going to start week 1 through week 18. This is something that could change. It could be fluid, but it looks as though going into the regular season debut for the Birds, it will be the veteran Adoree Jackson, first-round pick from the 2017 draft, starting opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. Here's what Sirianni said about Adoree today. He's always in the hip pocket of guys and close to the catch point. I also think he has a good knack for the football. He was a punt returner and has a good knack for how to take the ball away, how to catch the ball, things like that. I think we saw in the preseason that whole tackle. He'll stick his face in there, so he's got toughness. He has the ability to shadow receivers and will need those efforts this week against a good receiving and tight end core. And it is a good receiving core for Dallas. And I know that we can make fun of the Cowboys all we want, and we can throw out memes of Dak Prescott and Jerry Jones and laugh at the fact that Jerry traded away Micah Parsons and only got 2 first-round picks in Kenny Clark. But CeeDee Lamb, is a really elite wide receiver, and George Pickens has succeeded with bad quarterback play, and he gives Dallas a huge body who can come down with contested 50-50 catches. He can run really well, and he, too, is one of the top wide receiver twos in all of football. And so cornerback, too, is a huge position for Philadelphia going into this year, and it remains a concern for me, and it remains a question mark for me. I'll also add this. Do not sleep on Jacorian Bennett winning this job. I think he's the better corner of all of the corners who have competed to start on the other side of Quinyon Mitchell. Runs the best. He's young, 4.3 speed, good ball skills. His 2 years as a starter with the Raiders, he was really good. Now, you can look at the Pro Football Focus numbers. It doesn't always tell the full story, and he hasn't always graded out well, according to PFF. But as far as ball production, giving up catches, what the film and the eye test shows you, mirroring wideouts, being able to run with them, being able to make plays on the rock, Jacorian Bennett can do all of that. And it wouldn't surprise me. In fact, I'm making this prediction now. Adoree Jackson might start week 1, but I think Jacorian Bennett at some point unseats him to start. And especially Bennett's chances increase now that he's out of that ugly, atrocious number, and he has switched to number 23. He has switched to 23, and with that, his numbers, or his chances of starting, increase because he has changed numbers. I kid, but he couldn't go into this year wearing 49. It is an atrocious number. 23 is so much better. Nick Sirianni on the Micah Parsons trade. Quote, "We have so much going on. We're getting ready to play the Cowboys. He's in your thoughts of game planning. They still have guys we have to prepare for. They obviously have Kenny Clark, who's a really good player, and they have good depth at the defensive end group, so you don't get too wrapped up into that. Kenny Clark is going to be able to help this Cowboys rushing defense. When he was playing for the Packers last year, had a couple of really good plays against this Eagles offensive line along the interior in stopping Saquon Barkley. But obviously he's not going to have the impact of Micah Parsons. And so that trade obviously impacts Philadelphia for the times that they play the Dallas Cowboys, but also they will play the Packers coming out of the bye. And the Packers were a contender to win the NFC, even more so now with the acquisition of Micah Parsons. Philadelphia today also making a very surprising roster move. Quinyon Mitchell is now on the 53. We know that he stinks. Terrace Marshall, who was let go the other day, has been added back to the practice squad. He's kind of that quad A type of player, if you want to use a baseball farm system type of definition and reference there. Not quite good enough to be on the 53, not bad enough to be on the practice squad, somewhere in between. Talking about Terrace Marshall. For Quinyon Mitchell, he was the guy who you got back in the C.J. Gardner-Johnson trade. Since he was drafted in the first round a couple of years ago, he's been one of the worst guards in all of football. Of the 90 men who were on this Eagles roster throughout training camp, I would say he was in the bottom third. He was injured a lot. When he did play, he did not play well. So an interesting maneuver here to include him and add him to the 53-man roster. I think the offensive line depth is fine. If Quinyon Mitchell has to play, you obviously get very worried. Is this Eagles trying to justify trading away CJ GJ and Quinyon Mitchell being the piece that you got back? Maybe. But he's been added back to the 53, and we'll see if Jeff Stoutland can revive and turn around his career. As for some injury news for the Eagles, this is big-time stuff here. Landon Dickerson, practicing today when the media was on hand. He was doing some drills. He was included in the field goal unit as well. He continues to get ramped up to play week 1. Such a fast recovery after all of our worst fears were very worrisome when he went down during that open practice a couple of Sundays ago. He got that meniscus surgery. He is playing currently with a sleeve on that knee. He has been such a tough and durable player for Philadelphia, especially a guy who had a couple of ACL tears throughout his college career. But he continues to trend upward, starting at left guard for Philadelphia week 1 against those Dallas Cowboys. Andrew Makuba, second-round pick out of Texas, who was awesome in that second preseason game. 75-yard pick 6 off of Dylan Gabriel, had a fumble recovery, and then one of the following practices right after that preseason game when it looked as though he could lock down that starting job opposite of Reed Blankenship, he injured his hamstring. But on the final day of August, he is back. Is he going to start week 1? Is Sidney Brown going to start week 1? We will certainly see. Is Marcus Epps going to start week 1 as a vet who the Eagles just brought in? That remains a question mark. We kind of know who is going to start at opposite, or who's going to start opposite of Quinyon Mitchell, I should say, at cornerback 2. We still don't really know who's going to start at safety. Makuba, Sidney Brown, or is it going to be Marcus Epps as the upset? Tanner McKee, not practicing. The other day it looked as though he was practicing, but he is not. He was snapping balls to his fellow quarterbacks with his left hand. It could be Sam Howell as QB2 backing up Jalen Hurts on Thursday, September 4th, when the Eagles host the Cowboys. We'll continue to monitor that. Hopefully it doesn't get to a situation where we have to worry about that, and hopefully Jalen Hurts can stay healthy. All right, that is today's Philadelphia Eagles Now. Wanted to pass along all of the latest news, developments, observations, opinions, and analysis to all of the legends and the real ones who continue to support this show. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I will be back in the studio on Tuesday, I believe. Might go into the studio tomorrow so that I can record an Eagles-Cowboys preview. But either way, whether it's here, at the crib, at the Chat Sports Studios, Eagles-Cowboys preview will be on the feed tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. That's also why you hit those notifications. Therefore, whenever I push out a show, whenever we go live, you will be notified.